Hello and welcome to TeamTalk. I'm James Williams with our new weekly show where we'll discuss all things Lincoln City with BBC Radio Lincolnshire's Rob Makepeace and Mark Whiley from the Lincolnshire Echo. City drew 0-0 with Cambridge United at Bank on Saturday. In truth, it was a match that probably won't live long in the memory. We'll chat more about that match in a moment, but first, let's hear the Imps manager Danny Cowley's thoughts on his side's performance.
I think it was us as a collective. I think it was as a collective in our attacking play. We were pretty organised without the ball. We didn't concede. We conceded very few chances, but no, we didn't. Our attacking play wasn't good enough today, and that happens. We'll have a look back on it and look for the reason why. We've got a few ideas. I have to credit Cambridge. They come here and changed their system, and were difficult to play against. And yeah, I thought, it's not always say it as it is. If anyone was going to win the game, I thought it was going to be them.
Well, the Lincoln captain Luke Waterfall returned to the centre of defence on Saturday in place of Sean Raggett, who was suspended, and he thought the Imps deserved a point.
It's good to get a clean sheet. My first game back in there. I thought we obviously lacked a little bit of creativity today. Not really at his best going that way, but we'll get there. The lads are working really hard. All Greener, the wingers, lads are putting the graft in like you've never known. So it'll come, 100%. Goals will come. So, chaps, not a great match.
No, it was a disappointing game. Probably one of the most disappointing games we've seen at Bank this season so far. A draw was probably a fair result. If either team was going to pinch it, probably would have been Cambridge. I was very impressed with them. They were better than I thought they would be. The plus side from City's point of view, another good defensive display. Didn't really look like they were going to concede. Cambridge's only efforts were from outside the box. So that's only a couple of goals conceded in 4 games now, so that's a positive. But City have got problems scoring goals at the moment.
Rob, it really was a match with few chances.
Yeah, I mean, there was the one chance for Matt Green when he headed it over the bar on the line, didn't he, really? And apart from that, it was a game of very few chances, very few opportunities for either side. Josh Vickers didn't have much to do in Lincoln's goal, and we've seen that with Lincoln. Sometimes they can struggle to be creative and create chances for the strikers. Ollie Palmer and Matt Green didn't really link up as much as they have done in recent weeks, and I think the one player who was a big miss for City on Saturday was Harry Anderson, who was out injured.
We'll touch on him in a moment, but Cowley admitted that if any team was going to win it on Saturday, it would have probably been Cambridge.
Yeah, they were very good. I was really impressed with them. They were extremely well organised. City never really looked like scoring, as Rob said, apart from that one Matt Green chance when he really should have scored. But it just shows how tough this league is going to be. Cambridge came to Bank having lost 3 matches in a row in all competitions, but they, gave a really good account of themselves. And as I say, if anyone side was going to pinch it, it probably was them.
You've mentioned Harry Anderson. He's been pivotal in recent weeks for Lincoln City. He was a big miss on Saturday.
Yeah, he adds that creative spark, doesn't he? He's the one player that when he gets on the ball, he really excites you because you don't know what's going to happen. He scored the goal against Chesterfield the week before, playing off the left wing. He's done really well on the right wing, his natural position. And the wingers on Saturday, Billy Knott played out wide on the right. He's not a winger. He's not got the pace to get past people. His role's a number 10, but then you can't really drop Ollie Palmer and Matt Green when your side are winning. Josh Ginnelly failed to impress, I thought, on Saturday. He didn't have the best of games. And then, obviously, Nathan Arnold and Jordan Maguire-Drew came on. Lots of effort from them both, but again, didn't create too much. And you have to say, as Mark said, Cambridge played very well. Sean Derry set up his side extremely well. The fullbacks very tight on the 2 wingers, and that stopped Lincoln City playing.
And Danny Cowley mentioned in his interview on Saturday that there were 5 or 6 players that weren't at it. We're not used to that with Lincoln City in the last couple of years, at least. Yeah,
I mean, I'm quite surprised that he singled out the players who played well, and he basically suggested the players who didn't play well as well, which was quite something to say in the media after the game. And the players who he felt played well were the defenders and the goalkeeper, which kind of sums up the performance, really. I just think there's a little bit of a lack of confidence in the final third of City at the moment. Matt Green, I think his performances generally this season have been excellent, but he has missed a few chances, some big chances as well, including that one at Notts County when it was 0-0. I just think there's a bit of a lack of creativity, and you can see why Dan is so desperate to add a striker to the squad in January.
Yeah, how does Danny Cowley address that problem? I mean, around this time last year, he signed Theo Robinson. Is he going to have to dip into kind of the free transfer market?
I did suggest that to him on Saturday after the match, and he didn't say that was something he was looking to do. Obviously, we had the saga with Simeon Akinola, who scored a couple of goals now for Barnet, with that not going through on deadline day, and that's hitting City. There's no doubt in that at all. If you've got 20 minutes to go in a game, Matt Reid can come on and make a difference. But if you've got tired legs, you want someone with a bit of pace, a bit of speed to make a difference. And Lincoln haven't got that player on the bench in terms of a striker. So it's a real difficulty for Danny Cowley. And whether he'll decide to change his formation or the way his side plays and maybe just go with one up front and go with Billy not in behind, as we've seen before when Billy's played, and go with the two wingers, that could be a possibility. But it is something that needs looking at because Lincoln are struggling to score.
OK, well, despite the struggles going forward, Danny Cowley was very pleased with his side's defensive performance.
I thought Luke was excellent. To do that off the back of nothing was tremendous, and Rob Dickie was outstanding with him. The pair of them were great. Josh Vickers played really well. I thought Neil Eardley was calm and assured. Alex was excellent in now, as he always is. Beyond that, we huffed and puffed. You're never going to fault the players' efforts and endeavour, but our supporters deserve more than that.
So Danny Cowley has a bit of a selection headache in defence ahead of Tuesday's match against Swindon, and Luke Waterfall says he's determined to become a regular starter again.
I was unlucky to find myself out the side. Was unbeaten in 4 games, I think, when I came out. So I said I was unlucky, but we've kept talking and stuff. I said my attitude's been class, which it always will be. I've always been like that. I would never throw the toys out the pram. I get on with it. I train hard every single week, every day. And that's it, really.
Well, chaps, Lincoln defended very well on Saturday, and Danny Cowley has got a bit of a selection headache now.
He has, hasn't he, Mark? I think, Sean Raggett is City's best defender. There's no doubt in that. That's why he's got to move to Norwich City in the Championship. But Luke Waterfall had a superb game back as captain. He's not had any football for a while now. And he came in and he admitted he was struggling at the end, but had a really good game. So you can't drop your defenders that have just kept a clean sheet, in my opinion. But then also you've got your best defender, and you can't have him sitting on the bench until Lincoln suddenly make a mistake. So it's a real difficult decision for the manager.
How does he balance this, Mark?
Yeah, it's a tough problem to have, but it's a nice problem to have as well, because you've got 3 players who are all more than capable of doing an excellent job in the heart of defence. It would be harsh to drop Luke Waterfall after Saturday, but as Rob said, Sean is the best defender at the club, and I would imagine he'll come back into the team, and it'll be Raggett and Dickie against Swindon on Tuesday.
And Josh Vickers has come in goal and performed very well, and is keeping Paul Farman out the side. It's quite a difficult juggling act in a few areas for Danny Cowley.
Yeah, I think with Josh Vickers as well, and this is a credit to the defence, he's not had a lot to do in the games he's played. He's had quite an easy time of it, you would say. He's made some crucial saves, the free kick against Chesterfield, for example, which was a fantastic save, but he's not been tested, I don't think, as much maybe as Paul Farman was in the early weeks of the season, and that's testament to Lincoln's defence and the rest of the team for playing well. But you can't drop Josh Vickers at the moment. Again, he's keeping clean sheets, have not conceded many goals recently, he's not made any mistakes, any errors, but it does leave that bench. You've got Paul Farman, the regular last season, you've got Luke Waterfall, the regular last season, you've got Matt Reid, Nathan Arnold. 4 of your 7 subs are players that were starting last season, but then that's what promoted sides do. We saw Cheltenham come up, they kept all their side near enough that got them promoted, and they struggled last season, and Danny Cowley would have looked at that and gone, right, we need to improve in certain areas, and that's what he's tried to do.
They are big characters, though, in the dressing room, those players as well.
Yeah, it's tough trying to keep those players happy. For having 4 such huge players on the bench, they're all unused substitutes against Chesterfield the other week. But, you've got to keep that competition for places high, and, their chances might even be fewer and far between in January, because I think we'll see 3 or 4 signings in January. So, yeah, it's tough for Danny trying to keep them all happy, but he's a good man manager. If anyone can do it, he can.
13 games out now into the season. Lincoln are 10th in the table, 3 points off the playoffs. It's been a good enough start, hasn't it?
It's where I expected Lincoln City to be come 46 games into the season, around the 10th place mark. It's been a really good start. You look at the sides around them. Mansfield, who everybody tipped to run away with the league, have been struggling for what you'd expect from them. And there's other sides in the division. Coventry, everybody expects them to run away with the league title. They're doing okay, just above Lincoln in the table, but they've not had an amazing start. And you look at the teams Lincoln have played as well. Exeter near the top, they've played them. Notts County, they've played them. Wickham, they've played them. They've played a lot of the teams in and around them. So it's good to get some of the bigger games and some of the tougher games, you would say, out of the way.
Well, Danny Cowley admits his side are still finding their feet in League Two.
We're doing really well. You know, we've got to respect the fact that we're playing a Cambridge United team that got promoted 3-4 years ago, well beyond us in terms of their infrastructure and their development. You know, we're still a non-league team off the pitch. You know, we have to remember that, and we have to make sure that. I've said this before and I'll say it again, off the pitch we work really, really hard to plug the gaps and to make the transition so that we have an infrastructure that at least allows us to compete with other clubs at this level, and on the pitch we've got to keep improving, which we will do, but you know, we're work in progress.
Well, it's a big week ahead for Lincoln with away games against Swindon tomorrow night and then a trip to Cheltenham on Saturday. And Cowney says it's a week that will test his team.
That'd be a really tough game. It's a hard place to go. We've had a good look at them. They've got some key players that have come back in recent games, and they've got a hell of a squad. So yeah, it'd be a tough game, but it's a great game, isn't it? You're going down to Swindon. This time last year, where would we have been going? Yeah. You know, so we've got to remember that, and tough week because we're obviously Swindon away. We'll come back up and then we'll go back down to Cheltenham, but hopefully we'll train somewhere nice on the Friday and we'll stay over Friday night. And we've done well so far away from home, and you know, like I said, you know, I've got enough character, enough substance in the group to know that we're going to be fine. We may come up a little bit short at this level on quality at times, but never in endeavour.
Mark, 2 really tough away games for the Imps this week.
Yeah, and Swindon looks particularly tough on Tuesday night. They had a great win at Mansfield on Saturday. Didn't really see that one coming, and they've not had an amazing start to the season, Swindon, but they've got a lot of quality in the team, and you do think if they click, they could be a real force, and I'd be very surprised if they don't reach the playoffs. Cheltenham are having a bit of a better season than they did last season, so that'll be another tough one. So yeah, I mean, if Lincoln can get a couple of draws or 1 win and 1 defeat, I think that would be a pretty... we'd all be pretty happy with that.
Rob, do you expect Danny Cowney to make many changes to his side after Saturday's performance?
Oh, it's a difficult one. We spoke about the centre of defence. I think that's a big decision for the manager to make. The 2 wide players in Billy Knott and Josh Ginnelly, you know, he took them off after around the hour mark on Saturday, so he obviously wasn't happy with them. Will Nathan Arnold come back and get a start? Will Jordan Maguire-Drew get another chance to impress? Will Matt Reid get the chance to play up front, and he maybe gives a rest to Ollie Palmer or Matt Green? So huge decisions for the manager to make, but he's not got too many options. You know, the bench is the bench. We've got Ellis Chapman, 16 years old, on the bench. You know, that is Lincoln's squad. There is nobody else to come in. You know, that is the squad, apart from obviously Sean Ragger's suspension on Saturday. So there's not too much the manager can do in terms of really changing it, but it's just the odd bits here and there that he'll probably look at for tomorrow night and on Saturday.
Right, chaps, thank you very much for joining us today. That's all we've got time for on this week's Team Talk. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Goodbye.